Professor Samuel Atintonu of Adabochi Jogban. Eja ke Bekunehu 2021 ni Nwofu Ikebani na le Ebu Watoi. Ake lele leun language bomojile. Ni na wa ke wogan ke dangbe enyo ni egbo ye okupa no. Ni o many poten le we ba anye fe aka Accra College. Lele nbo ke yafu eba momi ni akeneke no ko ne tuni. Wa yu ake wo ye language policy ye Ghana ni eko na afe nyese ne ni Professor Antintonu jimo ni nyenye na afe ake 2017 neke document na agbena shi ke bata wo chita mo ne I implement ko no efe to mo ame kunfi no na afe blema ko no jinu no ni kan aklote no ni ndo aketwon ni ne ka oba akwe ake gbeken bi language is learned through immersion. Language is learned through immersion. Yo ke gbeken bi na afọ ame na ame bakpa ako ni wo sumo ni wo ke wone ke GaDangme language ne achon ameni lo wo ka ma wie na me ye GaDangme shiponji ano be mebe no ame ba na higbe na ba kan se wo wie mo ene amla lo ni ko Ghana no won panye fai. The Director General of Education ni ko education no Ghana won pa bo fai. Agbene minister ni ko education no won panye fai. Me no ni te wo to leten ni anye ahe. Me ni poten wo fe ni ekole akewo hie shushu ashine won panye fai. Ewa ake wodamo TV ke radio hie no ba ya wona kuchi ana no wo ko ahye. Shikaji nye ba akwa nke nyeme ke ncheme ni trash ye biye mo fe mo hie fe bobobo ake wo hie ebo eja ke no ni ya no igba wona ni eye wo awi ake aklo wo no fe no no wo wie mo ke agbelepe ba ke wo agbena ba ha wo le mo ake wo ye hia ye mane mi don na wo ke ya koklo ko ni wa mo fro ye gen wo ka age no koklo chichi shi te ba baleten wo ba shi no ni wo cheme ke wo ni me ke shikwenlo nye amehuta na me ke pon ameha wo ene egi no ni wo nwuta ne ngmene wonye wo fohi bona fe ni no ni sa won wona gboshin ni wo shin wo ha wo bi ke wo na bi ni baba wo seko ni wo npa mo fa ake no ni Accra College ke wo agenshine wona me ni amewa wo lele wona wo mambi baba o na me yo nyanya ake o achon ga GaDangme ye wo school ya mi kejiote achon akwa pintri asante tree kehino shito ba fe ten ndo ba na mbuko ni ba achon wo wie mo ka akeshin akpa wie mo koko me chon mo na achon ga GaDangme pe ni ko te le hu me ni ba achon hu ame bejame GaDangme kan se ko efun no ake o waje wo kotoku bibi ami watawo ngle nu wok ba wa me ko na me bomoden na ma kan se wo wie mo na me awo shi fe se ka wo me 20 nyoma enyo nu wo ke ba be ra che wona nyoma ka ekome wona ko nyoma ka enyo pen ahun wo ba na ne ke nyoma enyo ne yo bia ne wo pa GaDangme bi fe fai akegba e kanshi nu wo nje wo fotoro mi nu wo wa ko na ya na aya college na akase ni ko na ba na ba chon wo ne ken wo GaDangme ne yo nyi amofen mo ato aneka adafi ne e ya hia afen hia mi e ya floor mi ni mo fen mo ka hi aha ko ni ame ba kase wo ne ken no ne bona fe ni eye mu ha wo mwene wo ga ntumo ne wa bie shagbe ne bi ka mura to afen o ba to ya adafi ko ni me ni yo wo ntumo na yisomo amba wawo ko no fen no aye emu.
I can only say 10 or 10. So I think I'm happy. This relationship started about roughly 4 or 5 years ago when the college took a decisive decision that language and culture are very, very critical. And I'm happy when I heard you said from development, you work in the development space. There cannot be any development when people do not understand what we are saying in a different language. This we have been articulating. But for us, we listened to your cry when we heard there are no Ga teachers. We said, how can we be training teachers and then there wouldn't be any Ga teachers? We have a responsibility. And luckily, my management, together with the council, have that kind of initiative that we should try it, and then we reach out to you to see how you could support in the teaching or training of teachers, and therefore, ultimately, to promote teaching of Ga and Dangme. I must say I'm very, very happy because Mr. Annan, we knew ourselves, very old friends when he was at NACA. And when we approached him, he said, yes, the council will take it up. And he took it actually at a personal level, at the advocacy. Then Prof. Tego is here. He didn't want to disclose. He was our first provost with our affiliation with UG. I at least expected he would put in that commitment and effort. So far, so good. The students who have come, I should think they're in the third year or the first batches, or fourth year now. Fourth year. That's about 4 years ago. So we are very happy you were able to get the students to come, and they have shown commitment to learning Ga. Our hope, and this one, our appeal to the council, when they graduate, there should be no way they should push them outside Ga constituencies. In Greater Accra, wherever they have, we need them here. Because over the period, what I realized even when I was in Winneba was the fact that we train teachers and they post them anyhow. So if we train and the deployment doesn't also meet what we want to do, then we will not be achieving our target. And I should think that you have the capacity to do that. You're already sponsoring them. And I think that is something that's very, very helpful to the students. I have been meeting them. Because once you put that layer of sponsorship, then it is some kind of motivation for them to come and study the language. Partly because of our Ghanaian situation where there are negative kind of attitudes towards speaking our own languages and then learning them. And in your case as Ga, because it's a most cosmopolitan, it's a national capital with everybody coming in, it has implications. Because in language studies, once there are dominant languages and other people coming in, it will affect the natives themselves. It needs what you have to say, conscious effort as you are doing, to know that, look, it is a global community, you are welcoming others, but you must also protect your language and culture. That is a positive move. There's nothing wrong with it. Looking beyond the current generation, what happens 10, 20 years when you are not there? One of the efforts, I think, when you had your conference, it was well articulated by him and many other people, was the fact that for us to promote it and maintain it, we ought to know that from the home, that the nucleus of where the language can be taught. So if we have family language policies, I personally do that because since I left Bolga and I stayed in Winneba with my kids, I was worried with their mother. They come out from the room, then they're confronted with Fante. They go to school, they're confronted with English. I say, yes, I was a linguist. I won't speak English in my house. We never did, but I think the kids are very good in my language. I'm very proud. They have not also failed English. So that is what we should know. Children are very good at languages. We have our own challenges imposed on the kids, thinking that if you speak Ga to them, they won't perform in English. It is not true, and Mr. Nan and my other colleagues are here. So keep this effort. The college is paused and committed. The 20 slots we have now gotten 2. We started with 5, 10. We said we will allocate 20 slots for Ga Dangme, and even committed to increase the number, provided you can get the applicants, because that is also your challenge now. Each time we give you the slots, it appears you don't, fill them up. You may need more advocacy. We also continue to do our best. Some of the strategies is to begin to get them at the secondary schools. And once they know that there's an opportunity, when they complete, they'll be actually posted. And also, there's no reason to say because they are doing Ga, they can't do it. And I kept telling people, personally, I studied mathematics first degree, and I've had to go to linguistics because of one lady who was my mentor in Legon, Professor Mary Esther Kubu. She was at African Institute of African Studies and came to Winneba to teach her and said, I think you are good in maths, but I think you can do better in the languages. It was a challenge. What about Ghanaian language? Who minds you on that one? But I think over time, when I came to Legon, then she took me up as a mentor. There I saw the production of the Ga dictionary. It was Mary Esther Kubo. In that space, it was something like a lab. Then he said, look, have you seen this? You could also produce a dictionary in your language, goodness. It was a challenge, but 7 years down the lane, we were able to do it. And today, if you're in academia and they talk of contribution to knowledge, I think that's much better than if I were in mathematics. The formulas are already well determined. I have nothing to contribute for my part. So that is the joy and the excitement. And I should think that we should be proud of being Ghans, proud of whatever ethnic group we are, as Ghanaians first, before we position ourselves in a global community. So I'm very happy, and to think that this historic signing we are going to do today will lead to bigger successes in future. If we are alive, we can look into each other's face and knock our chest that our modest effort we did today, we have Ghana teachers filled in all the schools, and that will be our joy. On that note, I wish to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Introducing the fact that language is extremely important everywhere, and then the effort that has been done in the past by this noble institution to make sure that Ga Dangme as a language is promoted. We all know what is facing the GaDangme language because of the very fact that this small group of people in this small piece of land had become the capital for the whole nation. A friend of mine who is an Akan says so. Accra is Abuchi Kwanta. So to them, this is their small Abuchi. Every person, every single village in this country has a relative stay in Accra somewhere. So no, it's a fact. And then so we Gans have a saying that that we are opening all our arms for all strangers. We believe in having strangers in our midst because they help in the progress of the society. That's our saying. All Ghana kids know that. Okay. So we are extremely happy that we've got strangers among ourselves. But unfortunately, it's also comes with certain challenges. Basically, the language is fast disappearing, and other languages are taking over. And nobody would like or be happy, even those like you. You are not from here, but you are extremely concerned that, oh, this language gradually, because of the dynamics of the population, the rate of change is so high. I mean, we cannot absorb the rate of change. So other languages are taking predominance over Ghana here. And by the UN UNESCO Charter, this should not happen to any language, especially a language which is already written, which is one of the first languages to be written in this country. So we thank you very much, Mr. Vice Chancellor, Professor Vice Chancellor, for this golden and wonderful opportunity you granted the GaDangme Council and all the GaDangme people of this country. The GaDangme people of this country shall forever be grateful to you and your predecessors for this important move in granting, what do you call it, admission, unconditional admission for up to 20 GaDangme students who want to be admitted, and even more, provided we can provide the students. But I also like to state that you mentioned earlier that we are not getting the numbers as we expected. It's all because of sponsorship. So I'll take this opportunity, since I'm on camera on TV, to appeal to everybody, whether you're Ga or Dangme or non-GaDangme, if you believe in this cause, to come and help the GaDangme Council to raise funds to provide scholarships for all the GaDangme students and kids who want to study Ga or Dangme and teach them later. Okay. It's an open invitation. The GaDangme Council itself, on our own, have been raising funds to support the students. So far, we've supported up to 15, 40, wow. Up to 40 students here, okay, from the council itself, members of the association, and other people who believe in this cause. So, but let me also talk about a very important issue that is also pending now. and which we want, since I'm on TV, I want the whole of this country to pay particular attention to. It is the teaching of the Ga or Dangme language in the Greater Accra region. The region is composed of the Ga people and the Dangme people. We will wish and we will want and we will ask government to institute policies, even at the level of parliament, that only Ga or Dangme should be taught at the basic level in all schools in the Greater Accra region. You go to some schools, child who was teaching Ga, because the school owners and some of the parents didn't want their kids to learn Ga, that teacher was moved from the classroom to the administrative office. Because some of the parents said no, they want their kids to learn other languages, three in particular. Let me be frank here, okay? But there were others in that school. Maybe there are people from Boga in that school, people from Zima in that school. It's a private school though, but if it's a policy from government, that's what we want. I mean, the land is gone. It's for the whole nation. It's going every day. Culture must be preserved. And this is something the government and the Ministry of Education should be able to pass as a law in this country. That in the Greater Accra region, because of a peculiar situation, where now the Ga people, especially in the Ga section of the Greater Accra region, the Gans are now in the minority. And the language, if we do not take steps right through the government intervention, also in the next few decades will be disappearing. So this is a plea to government and to all well-meaning people in this country that there's a need, and for us to be able to establish this, it is important, imperative, that Ga or Dangme should be the only language taught at the basic level, compulsory. And the government should actually be proactive and provide funding, scholarships for people who want to study. Whether we are Ga or non-Ga and you want to come and teach Ga, please, you can grab the scholarship. I know teachers who are non-Gans who speak Ga better than me, and we're teaching Gans. I knew some at the university primary school where my kids were. So it's for everybody. Take advantage there. If there's a need or there's a scholarship for people to study Ga, or they are non-Ga, you can take advantage and come and help this cause. So this is a major concern of the GaDangme Council and most Gans in this country, and even non-Gans. Okay. So on that note, and on behalf of my people, we once again want to thank you for this great initiative. And we also wish that other institutions will follow suit, will take your example, okay? So we thank you very much.
I wanted to focus on the policy. I'm a Ghanaian Canadian, and I've been to different countries. The main languages spoken in Canada is French and English, and it's in policy. It is in the policy. And so we can talk a basket full or a bag full of it. If it's not effected, policy is not effected, to change all schools or charge all schools to teach these languages, then it's going to be extinct. I think there is even an initiative in Germany, that their language is also going off. And so they are actually even giving money for these sort of languages that are being taken off to actually reintroduced into that, yes. And so I think we would actually encourage the government to actually put in the policies so that, especially the corporates are mostly the private schools. Our languages, we all cherish our languages. If you go to Fanti, they speak, the main languages there is Fanti. And so you will speak the Fanti. I stayed in Takrady, went to school there. I speak Fanti very well. I stayed in Kumasi. I speak the Ashanti the Twi very well. But I'm a Ga. And same with all of us. We have different languages we cherish. But you cannot come in and say, well, because there's only this thing, I have opened my school, and so I want to speak. They said, somebody said it, Kuyapimtwi. and whatever tree. So is tree the only language? It's tree. We have Hausa, we have different types of languages in the north, in the south, in the western region. Why can't we also encourage all these languages? But mainly, then there's an option. You can choose either the Dangme or the Ga, and then you can add a language to it. If that's your indigenous language, you can add it to it and take it on. But we shouldn't exclude it and make that. It looks like there is an agenda. There's an agenda to quash the Ga language, and we will not tolerate that. So we are encouraging the government to actually look into it and please effect changes policy-wise. Thank you very much.
We do all this by training teachers, and the policy does not actually support the teaching in the schools, then we are going to have a problem. Accra is very peculiar. If you take basic schools, the private ones dominate the public schools. So if the private ones are not allowing Ga to be taught there, then what are we doing to ourselves? That cannot be the situation. And I really appreciate the call for policy, to revisit the policy, to ensure that the Ghanaian language, in particular Ga, is taught in the schools. It's a simple thing. If you make a policy that if you are establishing your private school, you ought to have Ga to be taught there, I'm not too sure any proprietor would go behind that and not do it. We have a demonstration school here. We have had to look for Ga teachers to come and teach. I got here, I think we had Akan, then we had Ever. Why can't we have the Ga there? We must. Said there was no teacher. I said we'll get, because we're training teacher, we have to get somebody. So initially, we got somebody who was doing, I think, English and something else, but he was very good in the language, and he started to teach. Over time, we got the right people to teach. So I think I appreciate that call. We all need to do our best and see how we can approach those concerned. DG is just in Accra here, Minister for Education. What I can do is to appeal to the council again, take a visit to these people in the offices, and it can be done. Thank you.